In Hunter Biden's criminal trial got a look at the gun he bought in October 2018. They saw the firearms transaction record at the center of the case. The prosecution is expected to continue presenting its case today. Polls have opened in the Netherlands to kick off 4 days of voting in European Union parliamentary elections across 27 member states. The Dutch voting comes 6 months after Geert Wilders' Conservative Party became the biggest party in the national parliament. On Wall Street, Dow futures are up 24 points. NASDAQ, meanwhile, is up 45.5. More details at srnews.com.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in LC.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
The Fiber and Spice is a very effective product. There's no question. A product that is very reliable. It's a very good product.
I swear by these. Probably the best product that I've ever used. I think they're just simply good for your body.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code BALANCE.
Duncan. Some schools and other sites across Kansas will offer free meals for kids this summer through a program funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Summer can be a hungry time for kids who rely on free meals at school. Check with your school district. Today is D-Day. We remember it from 80 years ago. NBC Radio was telling the listeners as they listened 80 years ago what was going on in the early hours.
This is Robert St. John in the NBC newsroom in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be approaching a fateful hour. All night long, bulletins have been pouring in from Berlin claiming that D-Day is here, claiming that the invasion of Western Europe has begun. Let me read you several of the latest bulletins. One says that a report, unconfirmed by allied sources, of course, says that heavy fighting is taking place between the Germans and invasion forces on the Normandy Peninsula, about 31 miles southwest of Le Havre.
80 years ago, today, we remember D-Day.
Now, the Tri-State's most accurate and dependable forecast on U-Rock 102.5.
Here's a look at your weatherology forecast. I'm staff meteorologist Ray Miller. Ample sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 84. Winds out of the northeast, 8 to 15 miles an hour. Clear skies again. Tonight, lows level off around 59. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tomorrow, highs level off around 93. Mainly sunny skies. Turning much cooler Saturday and Sunday with highs from the upper 70s to the low 80s. Thunderstorms possible both days. A peek at the extended shows. 77 Monday, 82 Tuesday, and 88 on Wednesday. Another look at the short range. We should top out around 84 today. Lows level off around 59 tonight. High of 93 tomorrow. Get up-to-the-minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Ray Miller on this Northwest Kansas radio station. Right now, it's 58 degrees.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-948-5880. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-948-5880. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-948-5880.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmer State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
When you walk into your local Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, you'll see that Nick and the staff have a little bit of everything for the warmer months ahead. Keep the lawn in shape with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. Freshen up the look of a room or the whole place with Benjamin Moore paints. Keep the family fed and happy with grills from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. And be sure to take advantage of the lower lumber prices. Plus, they're looking for people to join their amazing teams at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, with locations in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Spring into adventure this month with Hurl Chevrolet GMC of Goodland, Kansas.
Get a 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 pickup, 9.1% APR, up to $5,750 in cash allowance. A 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 pickup with 5.3-liter engine for 1.9% plus an additional $3,250 in purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle plus no payments for 90 days. Or how about a 2024 GMC Terrain with 0.9% APR plus $1,500 purchase allowance and no payments for 90 days.
See the complete inventory or schedule service online anytime at hurlchev.com.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
X-Cash Blitz family of instant tickets from the Kansas Lottery can multiply your winnings up to $300,000, which begs the question, what will you do with all that cash?
Tim, are you here?
I'm in the cash fort.
You built a fort out of money?
Well, I might as well put our X-Cash Blitz winnings to good use.
Hey, Dan.
Oh, hi, Sarah. How many people are in the cash fort?
It's a small get-together. I forgot to invite you.
We're roommates.
Play X-Cash Blitz and bring on the cash. See kslottery.com for details.
When Kansas storms knock the power out, many homes turn to portable generators. If you use a generator, don't risk a fire or shock. Follow the generator's instructions and plug appliances into your generator. Never connect your generator into your home's electric system unless a licensed electrician has installed a double throw switch. Lastly, only run your generator outside, away from doors or windows. Never in a garage or carport. A safety message from Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
Boy, howdy, are we in the big travel season. Have peace of mind and trained and certified crews from S&M Towing, Recovery and Repair stand by round the clock, ready to help you. The tri-state area rely on these teams from Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and Oakley. When troubles arise, get roadside assistance, towing, and recovery anytime, any size. Call 785-899-5423, 899-5423.
Rise and shine. It's butt whipping time.
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Christian Peck-Dimit.
Do you want to keep this job? Shut up, listen, learn.
The region's only local sports talk show, discussing it all from the preps to the pros.
What time is it? Listen.
Simulcasting on AM 730 Fox Sports Tri-State, streaming online at nwksradio.net and the Rockingham app.
They are everywhere.
The Blitz is presented by the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Has been very good out of the pen. There's a swing and a drive to left. Does it have enough into the wind? It does! Just over the wall. Touch of all time. Elias Diaz, his fifth of the year, and the Rockies regain the lead, 5-4.
All right, giddy up. 3-2. Ohtani tees off straight away center field. This ball's gone. Power supplies power. Home run number 15 for Shohei. Gets the Dodgers on the board against Paul Skeens.
Drilled towards left center. On its way. Ball game. Cubs win. Mike Tauchman walks it off.
Jennings, just like that, launches one.
And what a start for Oklahoma. Jennings, a 2-run home run to grab the lead. It struck her out. Got her to swing at another one out of the zone. Number 5 for Kelly Maxwell.
Happy Thursday morning, everybody. It is the Morning Blitz. Glad you're with us here, no matter which way you're joining us. Old-fashioned through the radio or the new school way on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Glad that you are with us here on a sunny start to a Thursday, 61 degrees on our way to a high of 85. We look like Christmas this morning. Christian's green, I'm red. For those who are not watching on the video stream, it's like Christmas morning here on the Blitz.
It is, and the gift, as always with Kansas, is that ridiculous the weather is crazy out here in a lot of ways, but not having any humidity, so you have days where you wake up in the morning and it's like 55 degrees, and then it's a high of 85. Swings of 30 degrees like that, I don't know if people listening know if they haven't lived elsewhere, does not happen in other places. That's very unique to this area of the country.
Not having the humidity, you mean?
Not having any humidity, so the temperature swings like that. I mean, it's going to be almost 90 today, and if you got up early to go to work this morning, it was near 50. That's crazy.
You got to go live in the mountains. You got to go live in the mountains more, man.
I'm not going to go live in the mountains.
Oh, you need to go out in the mountains. You got to go live out in the mountains and do that. Wake up and it's like, frosty, and then it gets up to be 70 and it's beautiful. You need to do that a little bit more, man. You got that stuff to do.
I'm good where I'm at.
We got a full show ahead today. Bryce Simon's going to join us because the NBA Finals get going tonight. I think Christian's maybe foretelling his pick because he's wearing green. Wonder what that means he would take in the NBA Finals. But we'll get to Bryce Simon talking NBA Finals today. We'll get you Women's College World Series update. The 3-time defending national champs are just a game away from making it 4 straight in women's collegiate softball at the Division I level. We have plenty of headlines and plenty of news to get to today as well. So we will dive into that coming up here in just a matter of moments. Once again, a shout out to the video stream sponsors, Hurl Chevrolet GMC. Check out the website 24/7, 365 at hurlchev.com. And of course, don't forget to hit us up on the text line 785-899-2222. The number to be part of the Morning Blitz with the F&B Bank text line. So make sure that you hit us up there with your thoughts, your comments, and your questions. And another reminder, we haven't talked about it on this show a whole lot, but you have heard the promos running. But starting tomorrow, 3 consecutive days that we like to call either the drive or the dive-in movies. Tomorrow night, we will be in Goodland for what is a dive-in movie at Stever Water Park. Elemental and Jaws will be playing. Invite you to come on out to Stever Water Park. The doors open at 4:30. There will be food. There will be good movies. And there will be pool, which is great. And I mean water pool, not exactly, with the sticks. But nonetheless, you'll have a wonderful pool. And, of course, the weather's going to be super hot tomorrow. So I think it might actually be kind of nice to go sit in the pool and watch a movie tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you go check that out. And then Saturday up in Ludell to help save the old schoolhouse. They're having a drive-in movie. Invite you to go up to there and watch the Goonies that's going to be playing up there. And then over in Oakley on Sunday, you have Wish and followed by Jaws again on over in Oakley. So 3 straight nights of movies and fun. So invite you to check those out here this weekend. It's a very busy weekend.
Now, I'm assuming you've seen Elemental already?
Dude, I've got kids. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Elemental. It's actually right now in their life. It's probably my daughter's favorite movie to watch.
Really?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Well, that's good.
And we've seen Wish too. We've seen Wish, which I'm way bigger fan of Elemental than I am Wish. If you haven't seen Elemental, it's really good.
Really?
It's really good. If
you want me to be honest, and we have very differing bars for what makes a good movie, but I've heard nothing but bad things
about Elemental.
But you know what? I've only heard them from adults. Apparently, the kids just love it.
I like Elemental. I think it's kind of I think it's kind of wit. I think it's got good. A good kids movie to me has a little mix of the stuff that the kids like, which is usually the animation and that kind of stuff. But then it has those hidden little things that only the adults would pick up on.
The jokes for
the
Ross.
jokes for the jokes for the adults, and so I think Elemental's good. I like Elemental, but once again, remember,
I haven't seen
my
it yet,
bar for television or for TV and movie ratings is very low. I do not have
No,
a high
your bar is not low. It's just different. Ross is looking for more entertaining movies. Christian's a butthole that looks for critics and all the behind the scenes things that make him just no fun to watch a movie with.
That's all right. It's okay. So once again, folks, let's just another reminder, fun weekend ahead. So whether it's Goodland, Ludell, Oakley, or if you want to make multiple stops, do so. It will be a good time. All right. Lots to get to in today's show. Once again, Bryce Simon will join us coming up here in about 15 to 20 minutes. But we got a lot of things to hit to real quickly. We'll do it so with the front page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
Starting off locally, good job by Christian to find this. I did not see this yesterday, but big news yesterday out of the junior college scene for our area junior colleges. Colby Community College softball has found its replacement for Steve Kinnett. They have decided to name Yasmin Esparza as the new head coach of Colby Community College softball. She comes to Colby after 2 years as an assistant at Kansas Wesleyan there in Salina. She's originally from California. Boy, what a difference in lifestyle she's had to get used to. Because before she was at California, where she played her college ball, UCF. So she went from California to Florida and now living in the beautiful scenes here of sky and country.
She has coached in Kansas as of late.
Right, at Kansas Wesleyan.
Yes.
I'm saying like probably when she went to Kansas Wesleyan, that was probably quite a wake-up call.
I mean, come
and
on.
Now you're going to even have more of a wake-up call because there's less city and more country.
Very true. But there are two Z's in her name, one in the first and one in the last. So if we're pronouncing that wrong, we apologize. Either Jasmine or Yasmin. I don't know.
Could be Yasmin for all we know.
Exactly. So we'll have to get her on the show, especially obviously closer to softball season. But this is, I believe I'm correct in saying this, her first head coaching job, an assistant at Kansas Wesleyan, and then an assistant before that at the College of Canyons in St. Clarita, California. So a couple of stops at assistant coaching jobs, and always sort of interesting to see. It's, in theory, it's a step, it's just a step forward, and you're doing just a little bit more than you were before, but always interesting to see how career assistants sort of take over that head coaching job, and still very young, and hopefully can sort of connect with the modern JUCO world. And all the best of luck to Coach Esparza.
It will be interesting. Once again, these kind of hires are intriguing to me because you're bringing in someone who sometimes out here you have to kind of have someone with a little bit of a local tie sometimes to have success. Not saying that you have to, but sometimes you need to have someone with a little bit of a local tie. So Steve Kinnett to me was always a good hire in my opinion, because he knew kind of the Colorado-Utah circuit a little bit when it came to softball, and so he could recruit that. So when you come from California and when you come from Florida, and yes, I know you're at Kansas Wesleyan for a couple of years. How well do you know it's not like it's going to be more difficult to pull kids out of maybe the spots that you know, and I don't know Coach Esparza at all, but let's just say that she is known for her recruiting because that's the lifeblood of your program. How are you going to recruit and who are you going to recruit? Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to go recruit and bring players in. Now, one thing Colby Community College has done as kind of a whole, as an entire athletic department, they have certainly looked more internationally as of late. So maybe she's got a tie with that, and that could be something that they do going forward. But you're not Hutchinson. You're not Butler. You're not a big-time program where you can pull in the best kids from the state. You're going to have to look elsewhere, like Colorado, like Utah, because you're on the western side of the state, maybe Texas or Nebraska. You have to pull in girls from those areas to make your team. And it's always interesting to see, do coaches know how to do that? Or maybe they have just such deep connections they can pull kids in from anywhere in the country.
Always interesting to see. Ross, you hit it exactly on the head, especially being from California and Florida. It could be much easier for her because she can recruit from those parts of the country. It could be a lot harder to get kids out here. But yeah, on the one hand, CCC has hit a lot of international players as of late. On the other hand, it's sort of an individual basis that Coach Stanford on the basketball team has all these connections in Europe, and that's sort of where he's able to recruit from. Same, of course, with Coach Jones and the volleyball team. And so maybe she does look internationally because she can get some help from those other coaches and her previous stops. Obviously, Coach Canet was a very big recruiter from Canada. Maybe that changes. Maybe that stays the same. Sometimes, even if you're a different coach, totally different regime, still in that program, those ties can stick around to those countries. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where
Coach Ryan Carter, the baseball team's huge recruiter in Canada. They love to recruit out of Canada. So
very true.
You have your footprint where you like to go recruit. Every coach does, because of something that happened in your past, whether that's where you're from or that's where it's your first recruiting assignment. You have those relationships built. Now, can you cultivate those relationships to pull kids to come to, no offense, middle of nowhere America to an extent, and you're going to have to keep them here, which is hard to do, which is why kind of the European thing is very fascinating, because these kids are just looking for an opportunity to come to the U.S. and play ball, no matter what it is. And they're like, sure, we'll come play. And they come sight unseen. They don't know any better. So, and they come up here and they play, and they usually find success for the most part. It's very fascinating. So it'll be interesting to see where Coach Esparza goes with her recruiting, where her footprint is, how she's able to build a roster. Because that was one thing I was always impressed with Coach Canet. He knew the Colorado and the Utah area very well.
Yeah.
And that's not a super long drive for kids to come. They can still get home on a weekend if they need to. So something to watch going forward. Big news out of Lawrence yesterday as we change gears into college basketball. News came down that Tuesday, backup bench guard Elmarco Jackson, a former McDonald's All-American, will miss the upcoming 24-25 season as he tore his patellar tendon. I think he was working I don't know if he was working a camp or if he was at a camp somewhere. He tore his patellar tendon, and so he's going to miss the whole season. Now, if people remember Elmarco Jackson, I know a lot of Kansas fans did, because he was not what they were hoping for. He only averaged 4 points per game during a very up and down freshman season, but he was looking to add more minutes and having more of an impact here in the 24-25 season. And Christian and I kind of had a debate about this a little bit through text yesterday when this news broke, and I'm still going to hang on my thought that I don't know if this is a humongous loss for Kansas because of what they did in the portal this previous couple of months. So I don't, and you, I think, on the other hand, are a little bit more thinking that this is a guy who's going to have a little bit more of an impact than maybe I think he was.
I think without Furphy, he stood to sort of soak up some of those. Obviously, Furphy ended up starting by the end of the season, but soak up some of those bench minutes, especially if he can obviously improve from what was, by all accounts, a lackluster freshman year. Yeah, it was at the Bill Self basketball camp. It was during a scrimmage. So that is a rough way to go out, certainly, and we wish him all the best. Patella tendon, obviously, in the knee, for those that don't know, connects over the top of the kneecap. So not nearly as, say, damning as an ACL or an MCL or something like that, but still in that knee that, basketball players love to avoid injuries in. So hopefully no complications from that. But at the same time, with Wando coming back, and with the new guys like Zeke Mayo and like all of these great pickups that on to next year Bill Self has made, I don't think it's a huge blow. But at the same time, and I made this point to Ross yesterday, like he said when we were talking over text, that we saw how big having a bench, or rather not having one, was for Kansas, especially down the stretch of that long Big 12 season. It's a grueling conference to go through, and when you don't have any bench scoring, it just makes it harder. So it could prove to be a big loss, but I think Ross is probably more right that there's a good amount of depth on this squad now because of the transfer portal. I don't think it'll be a massive miss.
I mean, you got to think a guy like Zeke Mayo, who came from South Dakota State, who was one of the top one of the top guys in the portal when he entered. When he went to Kansas, he's not their best signing out of the portal. That was Wisconsin transfer AJ Storr.
Yeah.
Storr's the best. He's a dude.
I think you're probably right about that.
And so you have Wando and Storr and Dickinson and KJ Adams and maybe Zeke Mayo. You don't need a ton of depth in basketball. You need probably a good 7 to 8 guys. Was he going to get some minutes? Yes, he was. Is this if this was AJ Storr that went down, I'd be way more concerned. Massively concerned.
Of course, but at the same time, we saw last year Wando had his issues scoring the basketball.
He always has.
Always, exactly. And with Elmarko coming off the bench, he was really their only, and I think still is, their only true backup point guard on their roster. So if he can come
That's now Zeke Mayo, though. He was going to be the new backup point guard.
I think he's sort of a combo guard more. No, maybe I'm wrong about that. I think he's going to end up.
Well, now he's going to be the backup point guard.
I think he's more of a 2, and I was probably expecting Mayo to start. So I think all it means is we're going to end up seeing Duan Harris play like the 38 minutes a game or whatever it was that he ended up playing last year. But obviously it's all about expectations, and so it sort of relies on what Bill Self expected him to do. Because if he expected him to step into that backup point guard role and truly be a solid scorer off the bench for you, then it's a big loss. But if they really were just expecting him to soak up some backcourt minutes behind these guys and just sort of give Wando and Mayo a break, then it's not that big a loss. So who knows?
Plus, you can't forget that they also, thank you for the texter, Michael, chiming in. We can't forget about Riley. I think it's Kugel. He's the transfer from Florida. They brought in so much that Elmarko was way down there. So I don't think, once again, this is a humongous loss for Bill Self. He has plenty of guys. Elmarko had his chance last year. He didn't take advantage of it. Bill said, all right, we're moving on. We're going to go to somebody else. And they brought in a lot of different people.
Said that
a lot of very talented players. Pretty much. You're exactly right. All right, continuing here on the front page, a couple quicker stops. Another epic loss yesterday for the Colorado Rockies, leading by, what was it, 4? Or was it 3? No, 2. Leading by 2 in the 9th? Gosh darn it.
In the 9th, yeah. Well, they because the Reds scored a couple in the 8th to make it close.
Yeah, but they were up by 2 in the 9th with 2 outs. And the Rockies give up a grand slam, and they lose eventually 2 to the Reds, 12-7, I think is what the final score was. Why am I not have this in front of me? 12-7. So, yikes.
Absolutely awful. The obviously pitching is probably worse in the league for the Rockies, and reared its head again in the last 3 innings. Over 4 pitchers, they gave up 7 hits, 8 runs, all of them earned. Couple of walks in there and just 2 strikeouts. Actually 4 if you include that 6th inning there. Just awful. Just a tough way to go out in a season that's getting tougher. But as always, if we've said it once, we've said it a million times, the Rockies always seem to have 1 or 2 guys that had ridiculously good nights. It was Blackman last night, and it was Diaz, actually, which is nice to see.
That one just stings. I mean, that one really stings. You had it one, Elias Diaz, like you said, had a huge game. Brendan Rodgers has played pretty good with the bat as well. But, I mean, you can't trust anybody in that back end of the bullpen. You have 2 outs in the 9th, and you still lose 12-7. Oh, you lead by 2.
Backbreaker.
6 runs in the top of the 9th. That's brutal. Brutal. Rockies have now lost, 5 in a row? Is that right? 5 or 6? 5 in a row, yes. They head to St. Louis to begin a 4-game weekend series with the Cardinals starting tonight at 5:45 Mountain Time. As for the Royals, they had their game yesterday postponed due to weather. They'll play game 3 of that series. So wrap up the series will just be, they'll have to make that game up later. But game against Cleveland this afternoon. Early first pitch, I think it's 12:10 Central. Very, very early first pitch time.
Yes.
12:10 Central on AM 790 KXXX. And boy, tell you what, huge news this morning out of the NBA world, as the Los Angeles Lakers, it was all the talk that they were going to go after former NBA guard and now podcast host and ESPN personality JJ Redick to now flip the scripts and go after the best coach in college basketball. Maybe not the best, one of the best coaches in college basketball in Dan Hurley at UConn.
In this one, hurts, to be honest, because you love to try to trust the media as best you can, and all you've heard for the last 2 or 3 weeks is JJ's our guy. We want JJ Redick. LeBron loves Redick. He does a podcast with him. Blah blah blah. This is gonna be awesome. And every article under the sun is how great Redick is. And you snap your fingers, and suddenly you wake up. We should almost be playing the breaking news sounder. It came so early. This morning.
It broke out. It was at 6 a.m. Mountain Time. It's old news now. It's
so early this morning that now Dan Hurley, who spent the entire offseason preaching that he was going to stay. I mean, you pick up that second chip, win back-to-back, and all the media wants to do is throw your name in the coaching conversation for every opportunity under the sun. And Dan Hurley denied. He's staying with UConn. His wife loves it there. Whatever excuse he wants to use, laughing at anyone who asks the question. And suddenly you throw a bunch of money at him, and here he goes to coach LA. So it does hurt a little bit as a basketball fan deep down, to be honest with you.
I think people need to get more used to this happening going forward, at least in the near future. Because what is happening is because of the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, it is causing college coaches who you think would be lifetimers in college ball to say, well, maybe I need to go to the NBA because at least there are some guidelines, whereas college balls does not. Now, Dan Hurley did a great job of navigating the landscape of college hoops. He was able to bring in some guys. He did a really good job of recruiting and developing those guys. He was one of those guys that pushed his guys extremely hard in practice, and he knew the type of guys he had, and they loved him for it. And because of that, they had great success at UConn. And I could see UConn, and I could see him sticking around. This is a very similar situation. They were talking about it on SportsCenter here this morning, but Mike Krzyzewski was in the same bucket 20 years ago, where the Lakers tried to pull Mike Krzyzewski out of college ball. But guess what? The college game was a lot different back then. You could recruit the guys you wanted. You could bring them in. You could develop them, and you could graduate them. You weren't getting guys just moving all constantly every single time and having to pay players. That's another big thing. UConn, I don't think, has a ton of it has a decent amount of NIL, but they're not going to be in a conference that's a power conference that has all the money like the Big Ten and the SEC is going to have. It's going to be harder to do. So why not go to the NBA? And the Lakers, and I got to give a shout out and a tip of the cap to the Lakers. This is a move that they would not usually do. The Lakers are actually thinking, why don't we bring in Dan Hurley, a guy who's got a great eye for talent? Maybe he can draft some really good guys. He can develop these guys really good, and we can actually build a roster. Instead of the typical Laker way, let's just wait till guys get good and then go buy them off of other teams and make a super team.
That's what they're doing to him right now. They waited till he won multiple chips. They waited till he was in the conversation for maybe the best coach in all of college basketball.
I'm talking
and then
players.
They're chucking money at him.
But I'm talking about they're taking but instead of
they're getting a coach that
they're taking a coach that has a different approach. Instead of just buying a team and then taking a coach and saying, all right, push over coach, you're just going to lead the way.
Well, to be fair, Dan Hurley was good at team building. He was a phenomenal team builder where you had a mix of the Klingons and the guys, the Stephon Castles that had been there and were homegrown products in UConn. And then he had the dudes that were, all right, you're a sixth year, you're a fifth year, you're at your third stop. And he built this amalgamation of a great team. So maybe he ends up doing the same thing with LA. Should he actually sign?
Yeah.
We need to,
they're targeting him. They are targeting him. We'll see if it actually works. And boy, how about East Coast Dan Hurley going to the West Coast? Because he is about as East Coast as they get.
I told
He's
you,
a New York
it'd break
guy.
my heart. It'd break my heart.
It'd be very interesting to see how this all pans out. But there you go, the front page here on a Thursday morning. Lots of news for a summertime Thursday. That is for sure. All right, let's get to break. Bryce Simon's going to join us next. The NBA Finals begin tonight. Game 1 from Beantown. We'll get the details on that. We'll probably even ask him about Dan Hurley as well as Bryce Simon from Motor City Hoops joins us next here on the Morning Blitz.
Attention landowners, got big summer plans for your property? Then here's an offer from John Deere you'll really dig. Get 0% fixed rate APR for 60, 72, or 84 months on 1, 2, 3D, and 3E series compacts tractors. If you've always wanted to get in the seat of a powerful John Deere machine, now's a great time. Offer based on dealer participation. For complete finance details, call toll-free 1-800-468-8501 or online at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Hair Volume from New Nordic is trusted by millions of women around the world. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tyler Garrish with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas. This is your morning market update. It is Thursday, June 6th. Overnight sessions have commodities set to open higher. July corn is up 5 cents at 4.44 1/4. The September is up 4 3/4 at 4.50 1/2. December corn is up 5 cents at 4.64. Beans on July are up 7 3/4 at 11.85. September is up 7 1/2 at 11.57 3/4, and then November is up 6 3/4 at 11.57 1/4. Kansas City wheat on the July is up 4 1/4 at 6.80 1/2. September up 3 3/4 at 6.94 1/4. December is up 3 1/2 at 7.14. Chicago wheat on the July is up 4 1/4 at 6.51. September up 4 1/2 at 6.73. And the December is up 4 cents at 6.99. S&P 500 is down a 1/4 point at 5,365. The Dow is down 20 points at 38,864. Nasdaq up 20 points at 19,093. Crude oil is up 16 cents a barrel at $74.23. And gold is up 10 cents an ounce at $2,375. If you have any cash grain you'd like to move or want to learn more about our freedom pricing tools, reach out and give us a call. You can reach myself, Tyler Ghost, Jared Law, or Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, give John Hansey a call at 970-744-4484.
Today, we're talking with aphids and whiteflies about Safina insecticide from BASF.
We just got nailed with it.
So tell us, how you feeling?
Really, really weird.
And you still want to devour this field?
No way, bro.
There you have it, folks. Safina insecticide is specifically engineered to disorient aphids and whiteflies, so they can't eat. And when they can't eat, they can't destroy.
Help protect your sorghum from aphids with Safina insecticide. Always read and follow label directions.
There are a lot of inconsistencies when growing soybeans. The soil, the weather, the market. You need something you can count on, like Revitech fungicide from BASF. It consistently outyields other fungicides by up to 9.5 bushels per acre, consistently wins in on-farm head-to-head comparisons, and consistently makes for happy farmers. Revitech fungicide. Visit revxfields.com for full results. Always read and follow label directions. Yield data based on summary of 2019 through 2022 Revex field scale demonstration trials.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Hola, soy Marie en el FNB Bank. Ahí ofrecemos diferentes cuentas de depósito que les puede ayudar a lograr sus goles financieros, ya sea de cuentas de cheques o de ahorros, a cuentas de cheques para negocios o una variedad de opciones de CDs. Estamos aquí para ayudarlo. Puede parar a nuestro banco que está al este del correo en Goodland o puede hablarnos a 785-890-2000 para trabajar conmigo o con algún otro miembro de FNB Bank.
Back to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Continuing on a Thursday morning here on the Morning Blitz. Glad you're with us, no matter which way you're joining us. Whether it's 102.5 URock, AM 730 Fox Sports, Tri-State, of course. Also online, ndpksradio.net. And, of course, through the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, where you can see now all of our wonderful smiling faces, including our guest this morning from Motor City Hoops. Also co-host of Game Theory, here to talk to me finals. That's Bryce Simon. Bryce, good morning, buddy. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, Ross? Christian, it's been about 12 hours since the last time we hopped on StreamYard and spoke about NBA and NBA playoffs. So thank you guys for having me. I always like doing something local. Everything I do it's Michigan related or, whatever. And so doing something here in Western Kansas, where I'm from, where I live, is really cool.
Well, I'm so glad that you're able to join us, and we get such a guy who knows so much about the NBA, because this guy in the red shirt knows nothing in comparison to the guys in the purple and green shirt. So I'm just so thankful to have you guys on and talk about this stuff. But, how excited are you for tonight with Game 1 of the NBA Finals?
Yeah, man, it's been a week since we've got any actual game action to watch and break down and talk about. I'm super into the NBA draft, so I've dove into that stuff. So, it's not like I get rest or anything like that, but it's exciting. I think this is going to be a good series. The Celtics were the favorites to come out of the East from the beginning, and then the Mavs were able to survive the gauntlet that was the West. So I think we're going to get a good series here with some really elite level players in the NBA.
How much do you think, real quick before question, how much do you think the NBA was not a fan of the big long break that they had? It was probably a lot longer than they were hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way this works, though, because they say the finals are going to start on, this year, June 6th, no matter what. If both of those series would have been sweeps, we would have had 10 days in between games. I don't know that the news cycle rested that much, to be honest, Ross. I don't this morning we woke up and all of a sudden, the Lakers are dominating NBA Twitter right now. They have hijacked the day with the Dan Hurley news and their coaching search. So I think between the draft, free agency stuff, coaching stuff, the NBA was able to stay in the news cycle as well. I mean, it's not like the NFL, which dominates everything, is, in a huge part of their season, even, right now. So I think they're okay. I think they would have liked, if we could have seen some series go 5, 6, 7 games.
Speaking of, you got to get a question here in about Dan Hurley, and it was JJ Redick. It was JJ Redick for weeks and weeks and weeks. And even at the end back of March and after winning that chip, all Dan Hurley wanted to say was laugh off reporters who asked him about leaving it all. And I'm staying here. I'm staying down pat. And then all of a sudden this morning, Lakers are chucking money at him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on because, for people who don't follow this closely, Shams and Woj are the two NBA newsbreakers. Shams reported almost a week ago that it sounded like JJ Redick was the guy. And it sounded like the only reason JJ wasn't taking it was, do you want the Lakers head coach to be broadcasting on the broadcast of the NBA finals here over the next, 10 days or whatever? You can't have that. And then we all wake up this morning and Woj drops a bomb on us that Dan Hurley has been in strong consideration and has been for a while. I also want to say, I was a former college athlete. People get really upset about athletes transferring. Think about what Dan Hurley would be doing to, he has a player named Alex Caravan, who was a borderline first-round pick that decided not to go to the NBA, go back to UConn, I assume to play for him, and then Hurley may be jumping ship. And listen, I don't blame Hurley, but let's not jump on these kids all the time when they move, when their coaches do the exact same thing.
Very true. That's a great point, is that, they have just as much autonomy to jump ship that it looks like Dan Hurley might be doing. And I haven't seen exact numbers, but by all accounts, it's going to be a big payday for East Coast Hurley.
Real quick, this would be a fascinating test case for a college coach going to the NBA. By all accounts, Hurley is psychotically intense and structured and detailed. That's not really the NBA. And so, one, does he have the energy to do that for an 82-game season? Can he get NBA guys, including one of the best that's ever done it, who likes to seem to have his own control? Is he going to be able to relate to those guys and get those NBA professionals to do kind of his way and the way he wants to do things?
But that's the thing that I was bringing up before you came on, Bryce, was about how this is so not the Lakers. The Lakers are the team that go out and buy the great players and then say, here's a pushover, coach. Just go out there and be a face. No, now they're talking like, let's bring in Dan Hurley, who's actually going to draft guys, develop guys, and yeah, they'll bring in some guys, but they're definitely taking a different approach in Lakerland than what I think they usually do.
Oh, 1,000%. And I love it. Like I'm actually excited to see, like, I only say those caveats because I'm like, this could not work. But I think the Lakers are smart here in terms of LeBron's not good enough just to give him the ball and say, go get buckets anymore. Like at the end of the day, as he has somehow beat Father Time in terms of NBA lifespan, he is starting to deteriorate a little bit. AD is not necessarily that guy. I love Austin Reeves. He's not necessarily that guy. So you bring in Hurley, who is a tactician. X's and O's is his thing. UConn runs the best offense in college basketball, with all due respect to Coach Bill Self at Kansas. And so taking that to the NBA, I'm fascinated to see what he could do with that roster and just give it an infusion of life and energy.
Fascinated is probably the perfect word. Going to be very excited to see what they do there. A quick backtrack, because the last time we had you on, I believe was before the conference finals were even set. And by all accounts, the Timberwolves, obviously not that, they were these heavy favorites, but certainly were the guys to come out of the West after knocking off the Nuggets. What do you think happened, especially in that Western Conference finals?
I think we talked about it. I think Ross asked me and I think maybe they had lost game 1 already or something like that in that Western Conference Finals. I think maybe you would ask what happened there. And we talked about how the Wolves were built to specifically beat who? The Denver Nuggets. Like that, they were literally built to beat the Denver Nuggets. And then you go play this Mavericks team who is built completely different, right? The Nuggets are around this creator that's a 7-foot big man. The Mavs are built around Luka Doncic, who, plays a different style, obviously, than Jokic. And so, they do high-level passers and stuff like that. But it's just different types of bigs with the Mavs. The Mavs are just playing really well right now. Like, this is a team that just seems to have found their groove. And I told you this yesterday, Christian. I give the Mavs a lot of credit for going for it at the deadline. They made moves that mortgaged their future to win now when they traded for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford.
Do you think that'll end up being worth it? Who do you feel is going to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already worth it for the Mavs. Like you've made your run to the NBA Finals. And here's the thing about the NBA. When you get a talent like Luka Doncic, you are on the clock as an organization. Whether you want to or not, you got to keep that dude happy, or else he's going to demand to go somewhere else. And in the NBA, players go where they want. They have that kind of control. And so they had to make win now moves. They took a chance with Kyrie. It's paying off now. They took chances again at the deadline. I think it's absolutely paying off whether they win this series or not.
We're visiting with Bryce Simon. He writes for Motor City Hoops, also Pistons Pulse and co-host of Game Theory, here joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. You talked to me about how, you have the two guys in Luka and Kyrie, that they're isolation guys. They're going to be doing that kind of stuff. How do the Pistons defensively defend that? And sorry, my apologies. The Celtics defend that. Excuse me. How much do they defend that? How do they go about defending that? And who really has the advantage in this series? One would say it's all the Celtics based upon their complete team and the dominance they've had all season. But is that true?
Ross, the Pistons don't defend anybody. Like just to be clear, that's why they won 14 games, and we've been talking NBA draft for 3 months whenever we're doing Pistons stuff. So the answer to that question is they would not defend Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Softball there, Bryce. Sorry.
It was perfect. I appreciate it, man. Listen, the Celtics, I'm a little bit nervous because throughout these playoffs, we have seen teams and players, individual players, attack them off the bounce and get downhill into the lane. Now, they just played an entire series without Kristaps Porzingis, who is their big man rim protector, and having him back, it sounds like he'll be healthy, will be huge. This is where Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, those guys are going to have to make their money. Are they these elite level point of attack defenders that a lot of times we give them credit for? I anticipate we see Drew Holiday get the Luka matchup to start, and we see Derek White on Kyrie Irving. And I just think those guys have to be good. They have to limit those guys, make them work. What's really hard to defend with the Mavericks guys is the ball screen stuff. The Mavericks have strategically acquired two big men in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford that are great lob threats. And it makes it really hard to defend Luka and Kyrie in the pick and roll when you have Luka's the best lob thrower in the NBA, and he has 2 bigs that can really go up and get it. So that's what's really hard, is defending that ball screen action.
Now, we're loving on the Mavs bigs, as we probably should. They've been great. But Lively and Gafford, really what we've seen is one or the other on the floor, sort of splitting that time at the minutes. And they had no problem rebounding right alongside the Timberwolves, who are this phenomenally huge team. Not that the Celtics are that big, but they have length everywhere. Obviously, Drew Holiday is the shortest player in their starting lineup at 6'4".
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about the Celtics' length? And if so, how do you think the Mavs sort of counter that?
No, I don't think so. And that's what, I feel like we've been giving the Mavs a lot of love, and rightfully so, right? You don't make it to the finals if you're not really good. At the end of the day, the Celtics are the favorites for a reason. They were a historically good team in the regular season in terms of net rating and those type of things. And this is an insane starting lineup between Derek White, Drew Holiday, Brown, Tatum, and then Porzingis. Because the Mavs don't play 2 bigs in general, PJ Washington is a big player, but I think you're going to be all right. I don't think Boston has to worry about just being outsized or out physicaled or anything like that. I think they'll be okay in regards to that. I think what we're going to find out, Dallas better guard. Like we talked about those Derek White and those guys. Can Luka guard for how many ever games this series goes? Can Kyrie continue to guard? Because Luka doesn't always really guard in these games. It's been better in the playoffs. And the Celtics do not put a dude on the floor that can't score the basketball in some way.
Bryce, we'll get you out of here on this. Make your prediction. What do we got? Celtics in 4, in 5, or is it Dallas with the upset?
Yeah, so I have to stick with what I said yesterday. My mind says take Boston. My heart, for whatever reason, is riding this Dallas train. And so I've been saying Mavs in 7. I've said it twice. I've said it twice on other podcasts and stuff in the last 24 hours. So I'm just going to roll with it. What contradicts that the most is my belief is you have to get into the playoffs and experience heartbreak before you actually win it. I believe that, even for high school sports, to be honest, but definitely in the NBA, the Celtics have done that in back-to-back years. The Mavericks haven't experienced that yet. And so that kind of breaks what I've said. My other theory, though, is whoever has the best player in the series usually wins. And Luka Doncic is the best player in this series, in my opinion. So I'll stick with Mavs in 7. Probably means the Celtics will win in 4 in an uneventful series or something. But I'm a little sad. I wanted to talk Western Kansas sports here a little bit. We got a 5-star recruit in Lincoln Cure that's blowing up all over the place. I'll be up in Goodland a week from today for PGU camp.
That's right, PGU, yeah.
Yeah, helping out with that.
You'll just have to come in studio then.
We'll make it happen if you guys want. I would be more than happy.
It's a welcome invite. You can come on into studio. We'll have you live in studio, Bryce. That'd be great. We can talk more NBA, and I can ask my favorite question about the NBA right now, which is how do 2 chubby white guys dominate the league? That's what I want to know.
Because they process the game faster than anybody else. But you are right. Listen, those dudes never dunk the basketball. There's in a game that is dominated by athleticism. Those 2 look like the most, they look like us. They look like us. We could be Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic and nobody would know. They just process the game way faster than the 3 of us. And those dudes are so strong and balanced and all of the other athletic things that we don't always talk about.
You're exactly right. Bryce Simon, once again, Motor City Hoops, co-host of The Theory. Thank you, Bryce, so much. We appreciate you joining, buddy. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you in studio next week, all right?
Yes, sir. Sounds great. Have a great day, guys.
Once again, great stuff there from Bryce Simon here on the Morning Blitz. Boy, let's take a break. We come back. We'll wrap things up here with our final segment with the Women's College World Series and our own final thoughts next here on the Morning Blitz.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
When you walk into your local Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, you'll see that Nick and the staff have a little bit of everything for the warmer months ahead. Keep the lawn in shape with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. Freshen up the look of a room or the whole place with Benjamin Moore paints. Keep the family fed and happy with grills from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. And be sure to take advantage of the lower lumber prices. Plus, they're looking for people to join their amazing teams at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. with locations in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
When it comes to the great outdoors, the Ford Bronco has what it takes. Be ready and make the trails yours with the Ford Bronco, now at Dan Brenner Ford. Feel the power as you enjoy driving the Bronco. All the confidence and safety you need. The Ford Bronco, on-road or off-road, now at Dan Brenner Ford, north of the Highway 27 overpass in Goodland.
Fly through harvest with the all-new AMI Falcon Stripper Head. They feature a self-aligning quick-change finger system that is easy and fast to change out. Also, a self-balancing rotor that uses free-floating balls to keep the stripper reel in balance, along with many other great features. These headers are made in Kansas with parts made in the USA. Contact Yost Farm Supply in Goodland, St. Francis, or Imperial, Nebraska to find out more information on the new AMI Falcon Stripper Head.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's the Morning Blitz.
What is this, amateur hour?
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central on 102.5 Rock and the Rocking M app.
I always try to give Christian his props whenever I can, but I'll give some more props here. You know, I knew about Coach Simon, but he is a fantastic guest. So great find by you, amigo.
He is
We know
awesome.
that your connections to Michigan would pay off in Southwest Kansas, but it did.
Right? Yeah, crazy.
He's so good. I'm so excited for next week. He's going to join us in studio.
I
Be
know,
awesome.
that's what I was going to say. It's
That'll
gonna
be great. He'll come up here in Goodland. He'll be part of Point Guard U, which that is a humongous thing for those who don't know. PGU is it's almost like a cult. It's become so big with this basketball camp. And we'll have to get, I think it's Reed Warner. We'll have to get him on again to talk about PGU. Goodland, they do it in Goodland, they do it in Dodge. All the coaches come around and do these drills. It's an amazing deal. So we'll have to have Bryce in studio, and we'll talk we'll have update NBA finals. We'll talk more local sports since that's what he sounds like he wants to do. And we certainly love to talk local sports. So we will certainly do that. So
yeah,
we'll talk with him more about that. But thank you so much to Bryce Simon for squeezing us in a little bit there. Real quickly, I know we don't have a ton of time here left, but your personal thoughts on the NBA finals.
It is always nice when we have an expert come in and his take
Especially
sort of sounds
for
like
me, because
mine.
I'm a moron when it comes to the NBA. So I leave it to you guys.
But it's nice when any expert in any sport comes in and their take kind of sounds like yours. And I know it in my head that realistically the Celtics should win this series. Shout out to a couple of our texters who are big Celtics fans. Heavy favorites for a reason, betting wise. Huge heavy favorites, but in my heart of hearts, I really do think that the Mavs can pull this one out. I've got Mavs in 7 as my official prediction, but I've got Mavs
you two
winning.
on the same deal. I'm going to take Celtics in 6.
And you'll probably be right.
I'm going to take
They're
Celtics
that good.
in 6.
The one thing I'm worried about is their bench. They don't have a ton of bench scoring as much as you'd like for a team this good.
I think it comes down to just defense. Can you find a way? And honestly, take someone out. Pick Kyrie, pick Luka, pick someone and say, we're not going to let you beat us. Okay, Kyrie, go out there and drop a 40 burger. We don't care. If we hold Doncic to 10, which I know is speaking crazy, but I mean, that's kind of the thought process. Let's slow down one of these two big guys and make these other yoo-hoos that play with them, make them beat us with either Kyrie, whoever. Let's find a way to do that. I think that's the way to do it.
In theory, I know we always talk about offense and there's no defense in the NBA. In theory, these two teams that have reached the finals are the two of maybe the 3 best, excluding Minnesota, defensive teams in the league.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season.
In walk-off fashion. That baby's go.
Once again, NBA Finals will tip off tonight, 7:30 Central, 6:30 Mountain Time. You can watch it on ABC. Also last night on ESPN, the Oklahoma Sooners take game 1 of the Women's College World Series down in OKC, 8-3. They dominate Texas. They slug 3 long balls. They get a 4-hitter out of pitcher Kelly Maxwell, who also struck out 8. OU needs just 1 more win tonight or on Friday if Texas forces a decisive game 3. It would be 4 straight national championships for Oklahoma softball. Patty Gasso is dominating the sport. Absolutely dominating the sport, a head coach for Oklahoma. And think about it, Texas really took care of Oklahoma in the regular season, but then Oklahoma won in the Big 12 tournament, and Oklahoma now winning in the when it matters the most. That's
what the good teams do.
That's
when it matters.
Find out. So you can watch that game tonight if you'd like to on ESPN if you would want to do that. All right. You like my Bobby Boucher there on the ESPN? I think it was Roberto, his dad, that said that. The ESPN. For Christian, I'm Ross. It was a fun show. Thanks to Bryce Simon of Motor City Hoops and co-host Game Theory. That was a lot of fun to have him on today. Tomorrow, it's a Friday. Eric Sorensen's going to stop by the program. We'll talk with him about Super Regional College Baseball, which gets going tomorrow as well. And we will be recapping Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And who knows, maybe talk about Dan Hurley going to be a Laker. We'll see what happens. For Christian, I'm Ross. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Back again tomorrow in 23 hours.